Okay, now this video is another topic one. And of course, it's titled, Why Do People Want the Rapture? And for some, this may seem like, oh, well, that's obvious. Well, I have a list of possibilities why different people might want the rapture. So, and this is not in regard to timing. Okay, I'm not getting into the timing issue of mid-trib, pre-trib, post-trib, pre-wrath, any of that. Okay, some of these will apply more to a certain timing view than others, but it's just meant to be a general approach here. So just keep that in mind. Okay, and I'm probably not going to write anything for this one. It's just one of these stop and reflect kind of things. So anyway, this is my list. I've talking to people just by, talking, running into comments online, reading things that people have written about it, anything. This is just a general perception of what their feelings are about why they want the rapture. So I'm just going to go down this list so people can just reflect on their own motives for this, and it'll be a good exercise. Okay, so number one, and this was the biggest one I saw, people want the rapture so they can escape their own problems in life. Okay, so it is, none of these are like, most of them at least are not bad. I mean, it's understandable we would want this, sure, but I mean, there are other solutions in this case. I mean, God might still be working in our life. He might be refining us. We might just need to grow our faith a little more so we can trust Him to get us through our problems in life, right? And maybe it's just not the time yet. Other things need to happen first, whether it's a natural death or the rapture. So that's just something to think about for that reason of wanting the rapture, escaping problems in life. Okay, that was one. So two is life is getting worse. And in particular, the world is getting worse. And that's why our life is getting worse. But that's definitely true. It is getting worse, and I mean exponentially bad, and we all see that and we know that's true. It's a very natural reaction to want the solution of getting out, escaping this, of course. But the same thing we must consider, that in all parts of the world, again, there are Christians in much worse situations that are suffering right now in countries where there's persecution, serious, not that there wasn't any here, but I mean, some intense persecution. Their lives are taken, all of that. So, and all these things work under God's plan in a certain way. So it's a process. It's there for a reason. And like the potter and the clay, if you saw what's really happening, you might not want to escape it. You might then request to remain, because the Bible says that we'll rise to a better resurrection the more we go through these things. So it's just something to think about in that situation. We are in a unique time, and there will be special things as a result of that. So, two sides of the coin, there's a good part and there's a bad part. So anyway, so those two, they're fine motives, but again, God might have a better plan. So number three is a little different, and I've seen this a lot. They want to prove to their friends and family and acquaintances and so on that they were right. You had the ones that are running around saying the rapture's next week, and they just want to be right. And then if it would happen that way, they wouldn't be there then, but they could otherwise like be thinking, the person would be thinking that they would have been saying, see, I told you so, I was right, na 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 na. Those people are out there. They definitely are out there. And then every single time they've been wrong, by the way. But this one seems to be rooted in ego. Like, oh, I was right and you were wrong. And so who cares? So what's the point of that? It doesn't get us anything regarding the kingdom of heaven. So, um, either way. So that one is silly. So anyway, but I've seen it a lot. Okay. Then we have that's 3. 4 is, it's similar, but it's a little more noble than the last one. They want to prove that because they think, okay, if they say the rapture comes in a month, and it would, that it would prove to everybody they were witnessing to that the faith is correct, and they're hanging it on that. See, that's the problem, but that's what they're thinking, and then people will believe as a result of seeing this evidence and get saved, who have heard all these things about this. Like, it's a physical proof. And it's a better motive because they're thinking of people getting saved, but it backfires in the end because you can't be setting dates. And so far, batting average 100%, dates have been wrong. And that only backfires and is a bad witness instead of a good one. So they shouldn't be doing that. But at least the motive is a little better. But it's still a little bit, there could be an ego problem, depends. I personally know people like this who hang on that. Oh, then they'll know. Yes, it's all true. And, but only, it's not going to be at that time. So that's not going to help either. It won't work that way, the way they're hoping it will. But anyway, that's what their thinking is. So, okay, number 5. This one is a super ego one, okay? And I've seen this a lot too. They may not even be aware of it. It may be somewhat subconscious, or they're unconsciously thinking this, but they will feel special because they are the ones being removed and rescued and taken up while everybody else is left behind. Like, ooh, I'm the one that's special. That's why he took me and not you. Some of them have an attitude that it's an ego problem for sure. And yes, when the rapture happens, those that are in him will go and the others will not, of course. But they like this part about that it makes them look special, okay? That's the ego part. That's the problem there. So there's that one, okay? Now, number 6, it means we are getting closer to the end where Jesus returns, sets up the kingdom, and this evil world comes to an end. And again, regardless of the timing view, it would be getting closer either way. You'd either have 7 years more or not, or 3.5 years, or whatever people think, right? But it's definitely almost there. It's closer, way closer. So, and it's a good motive if you want Jesus to return and set up the kingdom, and we are getting closer, and it just means that we are. So that's good. It's a good hope then that, you're looking at it in that way. It's not just, oh, take me out of my problems, and who cares what happens after that? Who cares about anybody else, right? That's not good. So this is fine, number 6. Number 7, this one is ego, and it's sadistical. Number 7, where it's a combination of some of these others, where they want those who did not listen to them to feel that they should have listened to them. See, I was right. You should have listened to me. I told you so. And now, because you didn't listen to me now your punishment is a terrible time of tribulation. Well, that's what you get. Like now you deserve this, And they really have this attitude. I have seen that, It's not just in their mind, they rejected the gospel, but that they rejected what you were telling them, and that is what they emphasize. So yeah, it's ego and sadism actually too. So anyway, some of them out there are like that. Then number 8, you have those who truly want to be with Jesus in heaven more than anything, and they don't care about anything else. They don't care how they get there. Doesn't matter if it's a martyrdom, if it's a rapture, if it's natural death. They've had it, they're done, they want to get there. They love him more than anything. Nothing else matters. And that's it. So there's that. And that's obviously good. It's the best one so far. And that's it. But you can see different motives here for wanting to rapture. And I've seen them all the time, and probably more than that. But that's just a general list of the main ones I've seen. But now, just to add a little insight here, again, many only want an escape, but not so much for being with the Lord, just for getting away from their personal problems. And sadly, many even think of heaven as just a place of endless delights. That's all they care about. That kind of pleasure. And it's not really focused on Jesus. It's just, what can I get? Right? Or they're focusing on seeing loved ones again who've passed away. That's all they're after. But they give little thought to Jesus, as if he's just in the background. But what makes heaven heaven if he isn't there? It wouldn't be heaven. So anyway, but their focus is wrong when even it comes to going to heaven, getting there, and what they will have when they get there. Their focus is even wrong in that many times. And on the other hand, you have those who go through terrible times of persecution, suffering, torture, and martyrdom in all parts of the world throughout church history, just to get to Jesus at the other end, rather than denying him to escape the suffering. And he's worth it. And that's it. And they knew that. And this can go on much of our lives even. It might not just be a short time. But we go through all sorts of these things because he's worth it, rather than those who sell their souls to gain the whole world with all its sinful pleasures. Now, all that being said, while we are still here, we need to live by faith. We need to live by what he said to do. We need to occupy till he comes. We need to let him grow our faith how he wants to grow it. And we need to be about his business, serving him, like he said, in the ways to do that while we still can, while we're still here and there's still time. We will never get that chance back again. The time will never come back. And compared to all eternity, our lives are a very small drop of time, so you want to make the best of it while you're still here. It's better for so many reasons, okay? Many. First of all, you're pleasing him, but second of all, there are rewards for these things. There will be more people there then, right? So that kind of thinking is what we need. It will be over before we know it anyway. So just make the best of it. And it's a perfect chance to fully surrender to him in our life. Yield to him what his will is for our life, and pray and ask him what is His will for our life while we're still here. If the rapture doesn't happen tomorrow, it's obviously not the rapture, right? So it's something else. So by faith, we need to ask and see what that is, and then we'll receive it. So that's the best way to make use of our time in the meantime, while we're still here. Okay, so that's the end of this video. And if you think of any other reason you've seen as to what people's motive is for wanting the rapture, just drop it in the comment section. I might talk about that one too next time. Okay, God bless, and I'll be right back.